In this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, I sit down with Michael from Puzzling Pixel Games to talk all about A Note for Murder that's on Kickstarter. Then we'll find out what else is on Kickstarter in our Kickstarter Corner portion of the show. This episode is powered by 60 Second Chef. Quick to learn, easy to play, and super fun. Plus, it'll help us get veggies in front of our kids on the tabletop. Who said they had to be edible? Want to know more? Go listen to my interview with one of the designers. Now it's episode 255, Wishlist Wednesday on Saturday, 60 Second Chef. 60 Second Chef will be on Kickstarter through Friday the 22nd of March. This episode is powered by The Great Nameless, a game of divine might and cosmic horror. Sibling gods declare war on each other while their mindless progenitor threatens to destroy all of creation. It's for 1 to 4 players. Catch our interview with Josh in their update entitled The Great Nameless, featured on a podcast, Getting Geeky with Game Relief. This episode is powered by the Character Casket, a coffin that holds and includes all of your essentials to be a player in a session of D&D. They're almost halfway to their funding goal and will be on Kickstarter through Monday the 15th of April. This episode is also proudly powered by Solar Flare Games. Robotech Crisis Point game has entered production and can now be pre-ordered with some extra pre-order limited edition Robotech items and exclusives. If you haven't heard of it, go back and listen to my episode entitled Robotech Crisis Point to find out more and then pre-order it before they run out. This episode is also brought to you by Heroes of History. For listeners of the show, you can get a 10% rebate on the game by emailing sam@bradensworld.com with a copy of your receipt, and he'll get you a 10% off discount. And for the first 10 listeners to leave an Amazon or eBay review, he'll send you an extra 5% rebate. So go check out Heroes of History from bradensworld.com.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
A very mysterious note has been left at the entrance of Scotland Yard. The contents are disturbing and cryptic at best. Only one thing is certain, it's a note for murder. Racing to prevent a heinous crime, and with very little to go on, Inspector Lestrade has enlisted the aid of Sherlock Holmes and his team of investigators. Will they piece it together in time, thwarting the deadly plot, or will it be too late?
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me either, but this is a story of A Note for Murder, a portable card game of deduction, and tonight we're lucky enough to have on the creator mastermind of this game from Puzzling Pixel Games. Is that correct? Is that how you fall in line with A Note for Murder, Michael?
That's correct. I'm the publisher.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief once again. We really appreciate it, Michael.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Now, I know we had you on back a while back ago for Abandoned. That was your last game, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so maybe somebody hasn't gone back and listened to that. Let's rewind a little bit if we could. How did you get into playing tabletop board games?
Well, I started, I was a child of the 80s, and I, played board games like I'm sure most other children had, Hungry Hippos and Monopoly and, all those games. And I do remember Hero Quest and, and then, life went on, and I was mostly a video gamer, actually, through my teens and 20s. And then about 10 or 12 or so years ago in 2007, I believe, my friend he started playing hobby games, and he got us hooked, and I've been playing ever since.
Awesome. Now you talked to video games. So what consoles did you use back then in the 80s, or what got your start in video games?
Well, back in the 80s, the first console I think that came into our house was my sister's. It was one of those Atari systems, like 7800 or 78. I forgot the name. It was like a beige maybe a beige and gray system where it had a keyboard built in. Had Pitfall and Pole Position, some other games. But I remember in believe it was Christmas of '85. My parents got me Nintendo. I think it'd be the Master Set. It had Rob the Robot, and it was came with Mario and Duck Hunt, and they were the split separate cartridges. I know a little after they had the Mario and Duck Hunt together, and I've been pretty much a video gamer since then. Super Nintendo, and ran the gamut of a lot of those systems. Life went on, and things changed, and I kind of morphed more into the board game space, but I do still play electronic games.
Oh, good. Are you back into, because they're releasing a lot of those retro Nintendo games with the Switch, and then they're, what is it? I don't know what they call it. I forget, the mini Nintendo, which is all the games built in. Are you back into that stuff again too?
Yep. And the NES Classic and SNES Classic. And I do play on the Switch. The Switch is my family's system of choice. We have an Xbox as well, but the Switch. We have 4 younger children, and there's quite a bit of family-friendly games, in the Mario universe and whatnot. And then there's the old Switch Online system that has a lot of the older games that I'll play now and then.
Oh, so you're what part of the Switch Online?
Yeah.
So are you into the whole Tetris 99 thing? I gotta ask.
Yeah. Actually, my wife was just playing it tonight. She's pretty, I'd say, addicted to it now. That is a good game. It's fun. I think I got as high as like 13th place. I was egging her on quite a bit. And now she's, I think she got to second a couple times. So.
Oh boy. Well, I won't tell you that I got first a couple times.
Yeah. No, great. That's awesome. I haven't played it enough. Hopefully maybe if I play it more, I could.
Yeah, it takes a minute. But my wife and my kids, I think they miss me when I pick up the Switch because they know I'm going into my Tetris zone or whatnot.
Yeah.
But you talked of also getting into hobby games. Do you remember the first hobby game that you sat down with?
Yeah, believe it or not, it was maybe more of an obscure one. It was Guillotine. I think it was the Wizards of the Coast game. I still have it. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No, what can you tell us about it in case somebody else doesn't know about it either?
Yeah, you're essentially lining up 12 or 13 cards with different characters, and you have to kind of collect these cards. And if you don't, or I believe as the game progresses, like their heads essentially get lobbed off, and you're trying to save them from getting their heads lobbed off. And it goes into 3 rounds. It's a pretty quick game. And I think what appealed to me at first was, the game was fun. It's just the different style art. I wasn't used to that. That's one of the things that got me into the hobby probably. Is the art almost seemed comic book. It seemed like a niche, weird, different product that something connected with me. And it kind of started from there. I was trying to pick up Spieles Deciaris winners, because I didn't know what games to buy. There's so many games out there. So I said, well, why don't I just start with the games that I know won awards? So it started with Carcassonne. I have Thurin and Taxis, which is one of my favorite games. So this was in the second half of the first 10 years of the 2000s, where I was trying to pick up those winners. Taurus was another one, rebuilding the tower or the castle up, and it kind of went from there. So I'm primarily a Euro gamer.
Cool, awesome. Now people probably are familiar if they're listening, or maybe they're new to gaming as well. So Euro, those don't have a theme really. They're more like checkers and chess, aren't they? Kind of.
That's what people say, and in some degree, it's true. It's Euro games is you could pretty much slap many different or any different theme on a Euro game. I mean, really, you could do the same with any game, but it's not as you have Euro games, you have Ameritrash. Ameritrash is more the rolling dice. Skill checks are involved, and the Euro games are, I'd say more of I don't want to say a linear path, but more, less components, more simple, maybe decisions, but there's really are simple mechanisms, but harder. There's a lot of thought behind these games, but, the whole thing with the theme is, you could take, Carcassonne, and you could really throw another theme on that, but it's really nice when the theme marries well to the mechanics of the game, though.
Yeah, most definitely. I would have to say that as well. So, when it comes to Euros, do you have a favorite or some favorites?
Yeah. Some of my favorites and go staples are probably like Ticket to Ride. Like I mentioned earlier, Thurn in Texas is one of my favorites. Yeah, that and Ticket to Ride. I don't have one favorite game. I don't want to pigeonhole myself in that.
Yeah, there's so many games out there. And you talk of Ticket to Ride. Did you see that he recently has designed a new game and it's on Kickstarter? The what is it, Aftershock?
Yeah, I back that one. That one looks really. I think that was pretty much. I saw Alan Moon and I'm like, okay, and it seemed like in the weight and gravity of kind of the game I would that would get play.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know what people would think, but I have yet to play Ticket to Ride.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I mean, you're not a Eurogamer, or are you more Ameritrash? Or?
It just really depends. Usually my wife's the one picking the games, and we got quite a few. I think at my game group we might end up playing it sometime, but they're more into the casual games and Euro games, and my wife is into the deep strategy games and whatnot. But
I got you. Well, I mean, I love the deeper strategy games as well. But I think with Ticket to Ride, one of the things I really like is I like trains, and it's the gameplay is very simple, and you pretty much you take your turn really quick. There's no downtime, and there's a lot of tension in the game. The tension is that somebody else is going to take your route, and then you're going to have to work around it. And there's a race to try to complete your destination tickets before you have to lose the points if you're holding on to any of those cards that you couldn't complete. And that simplicity of those kind of games is so far in our first two games that we published, we like to continue that trend. I'm not a person like I've played plenty of games like Gloomhaven and I have Arkham Horror. I like those games that are quite involved, but I don't get excited. I don't like watching other players do skill checks and I don't like just the waiting and the waiting. I like being able to take my turn pretty quickly, and that's some of the aspects that we're trying to bring into our games.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you speak of your games. So word on the street is you guys have a new game that's either on already at the time of this airing or about to launch to Kickstarter. What can you tell us about A Note for Murder, a portable card game of deduction, Michael?
That's correct. A Note for Murder is a 2 to 4 player game. It's going to be a small box game consisting of around 50 cards. It is 50 cards, and it takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and it's set in the world of Sherlock Holmes. And what you're trying to, the crux of the game is you're trying to stop the murderer from striking. It's kind of a race. You want to be the first player or detective to guess the 3 attributes before the other players. Even though you're working together, you're a team of detectives, but you essentially want to take the glory first for stopping the murderer. So the 3 attributes, there's 7, it's really 49 cards that consist of the crux of the game. There's 7 locations, 7 murder suspects, or going to be murder suspects, and 7 murder weapons like a knife or revolver. And the characters are characters you might know from the novels like Culverton Smith, Rachel Howells, Irene Adler, there's Moriarty. Now, in the books, they might not necessarily be murderers, but we just wanted to find the more prevalent characters in the novels and kind of throw them in the game. So you want to be the first player to correctly guess these 3 attributes. So how the game primarily works is you're going to have 5 cards in your hand. You have another card that's facing outward. Think similar to Hanabi. So the other players can see all these cards that you have. They're called clue cards. The one card in your hand that you can't see, but the other players can, is your secret clue card. You want to be the first player to guess that secret clue card before the other players guess theirs.
Oh boy, how does that go down? Like, if me and you were to sit down to play, what's my turn going to look like, and how am I going to go about figuring out or deducing what that card is?
Yep. So this is where the game is very deceptively simple. It's you're going to take one of your cards, and you're going to just lay the card down, one of the cards that you can see in front of you. You're going to lay it down and ask the player to your left, does this have anything to do with my secret clue card? They're going to look at the card you put down, and your secret clue card, and they're going to look and say, do one of the attributes match? If it does, they're going to tell you, yes, there's a match. And if there's not a match, they're going to tell you, no, there's not a match. And so it's up to you at that point. You're going to have a yes, essentially a yes and a no pile in front of you, and all players do this. You're going to start to organize and use deduction, logic, and you start to figure out, well, you're going to start to gather all these characters. I have a couple characters in my yes pile that are the same character, some are different, and you're going to start to narrow things down, and you're going to realize, aha, I know what my secret clue card is. So when you're ready, instead of taking that turn where you're asking your left-hand neighbor for the clue, you're going to say, I'm going to guess what my card is. If you're correct and you're the first person to get it right, to guess all three things, you win the game. If you're incorrect on any of them, you're eliminated and you throw your cards down, and play proceeds with everybody else. So there is a bit of a player elimination in the game, but it really doesn't matter, and it's not that bad because the game is so short. 15 to 20 minutes, you're not going to be sitting around that long not playing.
Okay, awesome. And if I'm looking at it, I'm scrolling through the Kickstarter page back and forth. Do all the cards have like a person, a location, and a weapon on them?
That's correct.
Okay, and I'm trying to guess, like, the card that everybody else can see has all three of them on, or just one of them, or?
Yeah, no, every card, there's 49 clue cards, and every card will have a location. For instance, Waterloo Station. You might want your secret clue card might be Waterloo Station with the Swamp Adder, which is a snake, and Jonathan Small. Now, another player, their card, their secret clue card might be Rachel Howells with a revolver at the Langham Hotel. All the cards are unique, and yeah, so it's just your job to guess it first.
And does everybody have a separate murder, or?
I mean, the murderer might be the same, but it really, because there's three different attributes on the card, so everybody's card's going to be different.
Okay, so that plays into replayability, I'd imagine, because you're not going to get the same cards necessarily every time.
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. So when it came to this, what came first, the theme or the mechanics?
The mechanics did.
Okay, awesome. And you're the publisher, so how did you go about getting lined up or working out with the designer of it?
Robert Kerr is the designer. We got connected through somebody else. I believe he designs, designs games with, and I have a game submission form on my website. We got talking through Facebook, and just one thing led to another. I saw the game, and we got talking, and we said, this can really work with like a detective kind of theme, and in Sherlock Holmes, most of the work is in the public domain. So, why don't we use Sherlock? And it just seemed to work out.
Okay, awesome. And the first one you designed Abandoned, or you just published that as well?
I'm the publisher.
Okay, and that one was, if I recall correctly, that was a single player or a solo game, am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. We that was quite unique. That's a solo only game. Yeah, and that one actually is starting to fulfill to our backers right now. So,
well, that's exciting. Get that out of your hands and onto the backer. Will that be in retail?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So when it comes to puzzling pixel games, what kind of games are you looking for or whatnot? I imagine you're not stopping at the 2 games.
No, we do have recently we signed another contract for another game. I can't say too much about it. It is a roll and write. I can say that. I'm in discussions with our 4th game for this year, and that so far seems like that's proceeding well. That's probably what I can do for this year, but I really want to start picking up steam, and I want to keep going and going. I don't want to stop. Yeah, I mean, these first 2 games, the Abandons and A Note for Murder, are smaller games. I really wanted to make a point as well to kind of walk before you run. I didn't want to overextend myself. And our 3rd game we're going to be running a Kickstarter for probably in the summer. That's going to be a bit more, but there's still not too many components, and it's going to be it's a pretty simple game, or simple to understand. And that's one of the tenets we want. with our games. Like I was explaining to you earlier, I grew up a video gamer. when you go to play a video game, you don't read the rule book or instruction manual. You pretty much just dive in. Yeah, we do have rule books and whatnot, but I really want to instill that same kind of feeling or motion in our games. Sure, I love complicated games, but I don't want to sit around and read a rule book for an hour. I pretty much want to dive in. And my wife is a good litmus test as well. She does not like when I read rule books. She starts to yawn. So she's a good litmus test for some of my games as well that we're going to publish.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome. Yeah, because I feel you in that instance. Because I'll sit down, I'll read through the book. I'll watch the video a couple times. I'll set the game on the table, and then come back to it a couple days later, watch the video again, and like a week and a half later, my wife says, you need to either play this game or put it back in the box. And so games sometimes, unfortunately, end up on the table for a couple weeks, and then it just goes from there.
Yeah, I understand. Sometimes I've been trying to refine my method over the years of introducing new games to people, and sometimes I've tried the way of just not reading from the rules and just throwing the game in the box and just slowly introducing and explaining things as we go. Now, people have to realize that at that point, I know some people like to have all the rules read up ahead of time, but if you're playing a game for the first time, it's a more of an education or introductory thing. Like, don't be gung ho about trying to win the game at first. And if somebody, if they're okay with that, then that works out.
Awesome, for sure, most definitely. Now, when it comes to A Note for Murder, what makes your game pop as when my audience should go check out the Kickstarter page, and if they like what they see, back it?
Clean, simple, light, fun.
That's clear and concise. So clean, simple, light, and fun. Is that what you said?
Yeah, and we, from our Kickstarter page, we try to make things pretty clean and simple and understand. Not a lot of stuff. There's not a lot of components. It's accessible to anybody. There's no. I mean, it's about murder, but it's really not per se. It's pretty. There's no gore and that kind of thing. It's we know it's a blast. We played the games with other people, and they just kept wanting to play it. And this is a fun game. It's if you're looking for a lighter game that's quick and fun, and this I really encourage you to check this game out.
Awesome. And it looks like you had the Unfiltered Gamer as well as Logan Chops review it.
Yeah, we have a couple others coming in as well.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I like their reviews. They seem to do pretty good at there. So that's awesome. Now, somebody goes ahead and backs A Note for Murder. They like what they see. They like what they've heard. So you don't overpromise and underdeliver. When would they anticipate getting their game so they can start solving murders?
Probably in we picked a December date this year. I could have went a little bit out. I kind of followed the same model and time span of the Abandons, more or less. And the game is more or less done. There's just a couple of tweaks we might put in here or there behind the characters to make them pop and the weapons make them pop a little bit slightly more. But besides that, I mean, the game, the box is done. The box art, the rules, the game is more or less done. So
yeah, I really love the box art. Looking at it, I really love the box art. It pops out to me.
Yeah, I got inspired from that from an older piece when I started doing digital painting a couple of years ago. I just did a piece which is like a 1930s or 40s detective's desk. Had a phone and like an old style lamp on it, and that thing stuck in my head when I did this one. And I wanted it to be, I was trying to think of the game, the box on a shelf too. Not clutter. I know there's so many games on a shelf. There's so much beautiful art. Going to a store and buying a game could be overwhelming at times. It's like going to a liquor store. There's such cool and beautiful art and packaging. So I left a lot of the background black to try to give some pop and simplicity in that regard.
Yeah, I think you did a good job. Do you do all the art for your games then, or?
I do, and luckily, yeah, it's I had an itch a few years ago to do art and painting, and I picked up the digital art thing, and just kept going, and kind of the love for board games and the digital art and making up light stories for these games, all these kind of different things just culminated into one and into board games. And so far it seemed to work out really well. I'm a web designer and developer by day as well. I'm not a graphic designer, but a lot of those skills kind of play into each other.
Awesome. And so just so people are clear, they're listening to this, like I said, it's either on or about to be on Kickstarter. Your campaign will run from when to when, Michael?
Yep, it's starting on Tuesday, March 12th at 10 a.m. Eastern, and it's going to run for 30 days.
Okay, awesome. So till sometime in April, so that's awesome. So they have till then to back it, but the sooner the better, because I imagine there's stretch goals, isn't there?
There is. Yep, we have a couple revealed, but we're going to reveal more as we go along.
Okay, awesome. And if I recall correctly, and Abandons did pretty good, didn't it?
Yeah, we funded, I believe, 162%. We raised we raised about a little over 21,000.
Now, do you think you'll see a lot of crossover? Because this is not a solo game.
True. I'm hoping there is some crossover though. Somebody that would like the Abandons, because it is like this game. It is very, very simple. You're going to know that if you're into that, you're okay with that, then I think that this will appeal to you as well.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so if anybody's listening right now, make sure you head on over and check out the campaign page. We'll leave a link in the show notes, and it'll either be live by the time you're listening or about to go live. So if it hasn't gone live yet, make sure you click on that corner. Let's see. Yeah, click on that thing where it says, let's see. I want to say, top left-hand corner where it says notify me upon launch, and you'll get an email from Kickstarter saying a note for murder, a portable card game of deduction has launched, and then click that green button and back this project, and that way we can get going for those stretch goals. Now, we don't want to keep you all night, Michael, but mind us coming there to your hometown to stalk you. How will people go about keeping up with you and what you have going over there at Puzzling Pixel Games?
Yeah, you can visit us at puzzlingpixel.com. We do have information about our games there, and there's a link up at the top as well that you can join our newsletter. And we don't really spam it too much. During the campaign, though, we will send out some mailers, and right when the campaign starts, you can join that. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Puzzling Pixel, PUZZLING. PIXEL.
Oh, okay, awesome. And you get those links to me, I'll make sure I put them in the show notes so they can go ahead and jump on over and do that. But like I said, we don't want to keep you all night, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief to talk all about Note for Murder with us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Wow, now I've got another mystery game that sounds awesome. I remember playing one of Tay-T Woo's games that uses this mechanic as well. I loved it. You know what else I'm excited about? To see what's on Kickstarter Corner. Hit it, Princess Leaf.
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaves computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leaves.
I recently sat down with Gil Hova of Formal Ferret Games to talk all about the recent changes he made to High Rise. This game excites me. It's a game of construction and corruption for 1 to 4 players. In the game, you and your opponents are constructing skyscrapers in a somewhat reputable city. You'll move around the board on a one-way track, choosing any unoccupied space ahead of you and doing its action, and waiting for everyone else to pass you until you take your next action. Want to know more? Make sure you're subscribed to Getting Geeky with Game Relief so you don't miss my sit-down with him on Tuesday's episode. Plus, I'd encourage you to go watch his Kickstarter video. You'll get a hoot out of it. But check out the campaign and back it before Monday, the 25th of March. I'm a big fan of tableau building games like Machi Koro and Valeria Card Kingdoms, so I was excited to see Valeria Card Kingdoms Crimson Seas on Kickstarter. They are bringing us not 1, not 2, but 3 products in this Kickstarter campaign. Crimson Seas, an expansion to Valeria Card Kingdoms, Ward Towers, a Valeria Card King expansion pack, and Corsairs of Valeria, a standalone dice game. Watch for a review from myself and Wizard Leaf once he gets feeling better, and back their campaign before Tuesday the 26th of March, so you don't miss out on the fun. Have you heard of or seen Fuzzy Mage Fight? It's a card game for 2 to 6 players, in which you play as fuzzy mages with unique abilities, fighting to become the most magical fuzzy mage ever. Their campaign funded in 6 hours. In case you missed it, I sat down with a couple of the creators. You should go listen to that. It's easily found by going to their campaign page and checking the update entitled Huge Update, Lennon New 35K Stretch Goal, and so much more. It's at the very bottom of that update. Speaking of at the very bottom, on that link to my interview at the bottom is also a giveaway they're doing, and you already get an extra entry by subscribing to this podcast. So go give it a listen and enter to win one of their high pledge levels. Then back their campaign before Wednesday the 27th of March. Guess what I saw on Kickstarter last night? It was Spirits of Carter Mansion from my friend from the Down Under Australia, Keith. Go watch their Kickstarter video. It gave me the nostalgia of watching an old horror flick on a very used VHS tape. It was awesome. Spirits of Carter Mansion is a haunted house social deduction game where players are the spirits that haunt the mansion. Plus, it's only $25. If our cards align right, I will have Keith on the show next week to talk more about it. Go back it before Monday the 1st of April and tell him Gamer Leaf sent you. Did you like any of those games? If you did, click the links and back them to show them and us a little love. Want to show us a little more love? Well, don't forget to check out and back our Kickstarter campaign either then. It'll be there for your backing pleasure through Monday the 1st of April. And now it's come to our least favorite time and your least favorite time as well. Time for us to get on with our lives and you to get on with yours. But in the meantime, I hope you'll go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others into the geekfold by sharing this episode with them. But until next time, Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.